Pursuant to Internal Revenue Service guidance, be advised that any federal tax advice contained in this program is not intended to be used, and it cannot be used by any person or entity for the purpose of avoiding any tax penalties that may be imposed by the Internal Revenue Service or any other U.S. federal taxing authority or agency, or promoting, marketing, or recommending to another party any transaction or matter addressed in this show. The opinions expressed by the host and the guests are their own and may not be used as authoritative advice. Any use of this material without the written consent of the host is strictly prohibited.
Welcome back. We are here on AM 560 The Answer. It's Sunday night
at 5 o'clock.
That's right. We're here every Sunday at 5 o'clock on AM 560 The Answer.
So welcome back, everybody.
That's right. And this is our segment where we talk about questions.
Listeners' questions.
That's right. And this week we're going to talk.
Yeah. What is the listener's question?
This listener question this week involves involuntary bankruptcy. And
sounds horrible.
It is horrible. Bankruptcy is bad, but a lot of times you hear people say, I've been forced into bankruptcy. I think most of the time what they're talking about is that, the situation doesn't give them any other option and they have to file bankruptcy by themselves. It's still a voluntary bankruptcy. You still go in, file the case, and provide everything up front. A truly involuntary bankruptcy is unique. It happens in that some creditors will get together and they'll file a petition for a business. So generally, it's a business.
Does that force you into liquidation? What does it do?
Well, they try to force you into liquidation, and that's what they're saying. They're saying, listen, judge, this company should be in bankruptcy. Usually it's because there's some assets of the company, and the creditors are afraid. So, for instance, I might have a big building or something, and I'm trying to sell it. And once I get the money, then the owner will scam the money and take off, and there won't be anything left for the creditors. So sometimes the creditors will get together and they'll force a bankruptcy, and they'll say, Judge, these assets here, we need to freeze them, and so that they can be used to pay off some of these creditors rather than taken by the owner and wasted. And so that's why you have a involuntary bankruptcy. It's still under Chapter 7 or Chapter 11 of the Bankruptcy Code. So you can force them into Chapter 7, which is liquidation, so you're making the business go away, or you can force them into Chapter 11, which is a reorganization of the business, and a trustee will take over and start running the business for them. It's kind of unique in that sometimes these are abused and that some creditors will get together. It happens also with partnerships. So some partners in a partnership might be running the business, and there might be some silent partners, and they're afraid that those that are running the business are running it to the ground. And so the partners will force the company, the partnership, into a bankruptcy so they can save those assets and make sure that they're guarded and that there's going to be something left. But again, it can be used as a bad thing, and that's why when they file an involuntary bankruptcy, initially there's a gap period before there's an order of relief, which is what really starts the bankruptcy, and the court wants to review the situation and say, should this really happen?
So do they give warnings out to the other partners or to the business?
If the creditors bring in what they call one in bad faith, if they bring a bad faith involuntary bankruptcy, there could be huge sanctions. And this is one reason why you don't hear a lot of it, because the creditors are generally afraid. They don't know enough about the business. You have to have so many of the creditors. If there's more than 12 total creditors, then you need at least 3 creditors who have what they call a bona fide claim, to file this, to get together and file it against that entity or that business. It happens again. I was talking to the United States trustee, and she mentioned that it happens a lot in unions. So the people who are running the union are spending a lot of the union's money, and those on the board will force the union into bankruptcy. And this is a big part of a big way to protect the assets for the union's members. It gets complicated. Again, you're still in Chapter 7 or Chapter 11, and if at first they have to prove again that you haven't paid your bills. Because if you're paying your bills on time, then you can just go in front of the judge and say, hey, Judge, I'm paying my bills. Everything's fine here. I don't know why they forced me this.
Would the judge call you in and tell you that these people are doing this? Or would this when is it that you find, if it's involuntary, when is it that you find out?
It's a lot like any other lawsuit. So when they file this petition, it's like a complaint. So then they have to get you served. So they have a special process server or a sheriff or somebody. I don't think the sheriff. I don't think federal law is a sheriff. It's generally a special process server, and they come out and they give you a copy of the summons. Actually, I think even in federal court, you can just send it certified mail and get a copy of that summons, and then you have 20 days. The alleged debtor, it's called, because you're not really a debtor. It hasn't really been officially a bankruptcy yet. So the alleged debtor has 20 days to file an answer to the complaint or the petition and tell the judge why this shouldn't happen. You shouldn't be able to go forward with this bankruptcy against my company. We're really in good shape and we could make this work and we shouldn't be in bankruptcy. And if I could prove that, again, then I can make the other side pay for all my legal fees, and then there'll be some other damages, punitive damages, and it could be a lot of money, and it could cost the creditors a lot of money to force you into bankruptcy.
So that's why this is like an extreme.
It is extreme. Yes.
It's extreme, and people don't just do this.
You don't hear a lot about it. That's right, and I've seen a couple of them. Again, it generally involves creditors who are trying to protect assets. And
if I had assets I wanted protected, how could I call you?
You should call me at 312-664-6649. Go to Chicago Tax Team, and we have on the left-hand side, there's a link. It's IRS Radio Hour. But there's also a blog there, and there's a lot of this information on the blog. And so if you have any problems with that, you should contact my office.
Or you can leave a question.
We haven't talked about that.
No.
So you send me a question at questions@irsradiohour.com. And again, you can call me at 312-664-6649.
Stay where you're at.